my nephews and my niece for the weekend, and now I'm back to work. So, I'm actually here early right now. I'm actually 50 minutes early here at work right now. So I'm not going to go in until like maybe another 15 minutes because I'm going to go get some breakfast downstairs. And then, what else am I going to do? Eat. I'm going to read some scriptures. I'm going to use my phone. I have a Bible, but I'll just look it up on my phone and read some scriptures this morning. And then go upstairs and clock in for the day. But yeah, this weekend was busy. I mean, I was running around with the baby, with the kids. The baby, she's hyperactive. But man, I'm so glad I was able to be there and spend time with them and see them as much as I can now. Because after this, it's going to be like more like every 2 months that I'm going to see them or every month and a half because they're moving out of state. So I would have to travel or take a plane and stuff like that. And trying to help my sister out while she gets herself situated. So so much changes, good changes. And I was just thinking about as I was pulling into this driveway, like how much has changed in so little time and how God has always been here for us. You know, I mean, I was thinking like maybe I should take a ride at my old job and just look at it just because I miss it. I was about to tear up and cry thinking about my job from the one that my doctor retired from. It's a bittersweet feels like as a new beginning. I'm happy to be here, but I'm also emotional about it. Let me not start crying. It's a change. You know, it's a big change. I mean, my coworker from there is with me, which I'm very thankful. That was the Lord. But it's hard when you have a new beginning and trying to adjust to something new. I get so emotional thinking about it. Excuse my jacket. Because I was there for, over 10 years and then now I'm at a new job now. So, here, I've been here for almost 6 months now, but it's still a big adjustment. Because my old staff was like family to me, they were like family to me. I talk to the nurse sometimes, but it's different, when you come to these life adjustments. I'm not sad or anything. It's just that feeling like where you're happy, but you also have this bittersweet. It's kind of like when your kids grow up and they go to college and, you're like, oh. So that's how I feel. But it's crazy, like how changes can make you feel like that for so long. And not just that, but I'm also a little hormonal, so it's just even worse. It's a lot worse. But I do miss them a lot, my old crew. I'm just trying to adjust with the new job that I'm at, and it's a blessing because I'm in the hospital now, and there's a lot of job opportunities where I'm at right now. So I'm very thankful. And then my nephews are moving, and I've got some time to really adjust to that, but I'm going to see them like every 2 months. So I'm really happy about that, going to see them, take plane trips, and I'm going to take turns taking my mom in my car down there because, that's one thing that, I'm definitely going to be traveling a lot for is seeing my babies. But I'm so happy for them. I'm so glad because they needed this. This state we live in is just too expensive. It's too expensive, and it's hard for people to get a house or anything. Me and hubby, because we have no kids right now, it's actually good because it's like, we don't have children, but if we have kids, the thing is we need a house. We can't stay where we are unless it's a 2-bedroom apartment, and they keep putting the prices up. So my mom keeps saying like, you probably gonna have to move down to the same state your sister's at so we all could be near each other and it's cheaper. But things that I am going to dread it bad with my mother-in-law because I don't want to take her son from her. I don't want to take her only child from her. And then if I have a baby in the future, oh my gosh, that's going to rip her apart. And that's something I worry about. So it's like, I just got to leave it in God's hands. Where do you want me to do? How you want me to proceed? And, I'm sure people listening to this probably relate a lot to what I'm going through. When you go through just so many life changes, it's not bad. It's really good, but at the same time, it's like a bittersweet, like a feeling of saying goodbye to the old times, and like you starting all. It's like starting all over again. Yeah, forming memories. But I just I don't know. I don't know like how that's gonna be like. And my mother-in-law, she doesn't really travel like that. She's always lived in the same state pretty much all her life. Versus me, I've moved around all throughout my life, from New York to Jersey, and traveled everywhere. And it's I've lost count how many times I've moved in my life. I ain't going to say it on here. That's crazy. You wouldn't even believe it. I said it, but it's more than 10 times. I'll tell you that throughout my lifetime. But the place I lived in the longest is my actual apartment right now, and I lived in this apartment for 14 years because I've been married for 14 years. So this is the longest place I've ever lived in my whole life. That's all I'm going to tell you. So just imagine. I've moved around more than 10 times my whole life. And this apartment I've lived in for 14 years. Okay? And this is the longest place I've ever lived in, the most stable place I've ever lived in. I'm very set here. So when I move out of this apartment, I'm going to be tearing up too. I'm going to be sad because even though it's one better apartment, so many memories I formed here. So, that's the next thing that's going to happen very soon. But I just don't know if it's going to be out of state or in state because my mother-in-law, I just don't want to leave her here by herself. I just feel like she's going to tear her apart so soon. Like, I think I should wait a little bit. We can always buy a house now in Jersey. When the house market goes down or whatever, I don't know what's going to happen. I trust God because He makes things happen, and you can't even make sense of it. So, just like everything else, He made it happen. So, maybe I'll stay here for about 5-10 years. If I have a baby, and I said I'll try for one. I'm very nervous and scared, but I'll just try for one. And and I she could at least be there for her first years, and then when she gets older, it's more like, okay, she'll be older, she'll know that, hey, me and Matt are going to move out of state. But it all depends on the Lord, how He wants to proceed, because my life is in the Lord's hands. And I'll tell you quickly before I get to my dream that I had, right? It was a really weird dream, but how the Lord works and why I say how great He is. I already mentioned about the whole kidney surgery, right? And about like what happened with my mom when she was sick. And between 2021 is when I started to go and do this whole the transplant team thing and the testing and everything. And then she had gotten tongue cancer in 2022. So we got disqualified, and I had to take her to her treatments. And like, between me and my brother, we took her to her treatments and really was there, and at my other job. And this is why I get so, because see, this is where my good memories format too, because my job was so good to me. They were so good. Like, they'll be like, take care of your mother, take care of your nieces. If I needed a day or take off Fridays, yeah, take that Friday. Take care of your niece. When my mom was sick, they were like, yeah, go over there and take care of your mom. Yeah, she needs you. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Go take her there. So if I had to do that and come in later, oh well, because I didn't have patients 3 days a week. And they're like, yeah, go take your mom. Go blah blah blah. You know what I mean? They weren't the type of job like, you need to be here on this time, blah, blah, blah. They were very flexible with me. And that's why I say they were like family to me. And it's very, let me not start getting emotional again. But, so, so I was there, they were very supportive. And I used to talk to them about God all the time. And I know at the time, it seems like their faith wasn't very strong. And I know he would talk to me a lot about the meaning of life. And he would cry a lot, the doctor, when patients were gone. He would just start crying sometimes. And I'll be the person he talked to. He's like, you're my friend. That's what he told me one day. And he was 60-something years old, but he's like, you're my friend. That's why I open up like that to you. And he told me how he felt. He says, what's the meaning of life? And I would, he'd be like, what is it? Just, is all work? This is all life. It's just me work and come home, have family. That's it. What's the meaning? And I told him about God, right? And how God got me and my mother through it all. And, with everything that was happening with her health and all, and how she got through the the radiation. She felt better. She started getting better again. And then we got back onto the list again for kidney transplant. After all the clearances, the heart, the lung function issues, it was just so much. It's so hard. It was so much. It was just so much to go into. And if I told you everything that happened to my mom, it'll be very hard for people to believe it. Because I think that at first they were having a hard time believing everything every time I turned around. So I showed them all the proof and I said, look, what's going on? They're like, oh my gosh, your mother's such a strong woman. And you know what I kept telling them? You know who it is? I said, it's God. That's who's keeping her strong, and that's what's keeping me strong. And they started seeing it more and more as time went on. And, that surgery, right? Before the surgery happened and we got back onto the team, because I think she got disqualified twice, I believe. I have to ask her again. But when we got on there, right, just before we got on top of the list, let me tell you how good God is. Because last year, my sister, when she had the baby, she was worrying about a lot. She was like, oh, what are we going to do? Who's going to watch the baby, right? So after that, 2025, my mom was already done with her radiation and everything for the tongue cancers and stuff, right? So she has a baby, and, she had gone through something where, I don't want to say on here, but where she couldn't really do a lot after the baby. So I had to be there to help out a lot. She couldn't, for those first 2 months, it was really hectic. And my job was like, go home, go take care of the baby. I said, I need Fridays to help my sister, especially when she went back to work after 6 months, she started getting better again. And I wanted to help her out. He was like, go help her out. Yeah, go take Fridays off, go help that baby out. But before that time, we were trying to figure out how we're going to help, how we're going to this, how we're going to that. My mom goes dialysis three times a week. In between the time after those 2 months was over and my sister started feeling better, and, Friday, I was like, okay, my sister don't need me as much to come over and stay the night, throughout the week with the baby. We got the news right then and there about the kidney surgery. And I was like, wow, right on time. So not only did my mom get her kidney, because what happened was we did a cross, what do you call it? A cross, my mind is all over the place. We did the transplant cross team where the pair exchange. There you go, the pair exchange. We did the pair exchange. So the girl donated to my mom. She was the same age as me, and her mother was like around my mom's age, and I donated to her. And then right then there at the right time, and my doctor that was at the last job came and visited me with his wife, and I think they couldn't believe it. They were like, oh my gosh, all these things that Candace told me about what happened to her mom and how she's still alive and she's alive. And I had an acute appendicitis at the same time. I was on my deathbed giving my kidney away, and I had no idea I had appendicitis until I woke up from the surgery. And they took my appendix out and they said, yeah, did you know you have appendicitis, acute appendicitis? I said, what? And I'm on the table sitting there recovering from giving my kidney. It's like I gave life and then God gave my life back. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I said, this is God. And when they came and saw on the board kidney donor, and I told them, yeah, I had appendicitis, they took it out. They were like, what? That was it. They knew then, like, okay, this girl ain't making up nothing she's been telling us this whole time, and they seen everything. They saw my mother-in-law come in, they were visiting. And it was amazing, how God works. I could have died from that while giving my life to somebody else. But it just shows you how good God is. He kept my mom alive, kept me alive, he kept me in good health while he took my kidney to give to someone else, because that was all in the will of God. It just happened so perfectly. Like there's no coincidence. And right then and there, we recovered in the right amount of time to be there when my sister got off for 6 months of maternity leave, and she went back to work, and my mom was ready back to helping her out with the baby. And she was she was getting her energy back. And my doctor was like, take Fridays off, go help your sister out, right? So Fridays I helped her out. My mom did 2 days a week. And so my sister was able to get some money and work and do what she had to do throughout the time. Then we found out he was retiring. And then, January, remember, I was on unemployment. I didn't get this job till February 9th. And it was very tough trying to transition. It still is, but it's amazing. And see, now Fridays, of course, those Fridays, my sister now had to go down to 2 days a week, but it was right in the time frame where she was getting ready to move to North Carolina. Now she's like, okay, saving up. And now we're going to go to North Carolina. We're going to get our stuff together. And, it's amazing like how everything happened right on time. Just right on time. Like God was like, don't worry, Nisha, my sister, I'm going to find a way for you. Your sister, I'm going to have them do the surgery this time, and they're going to be well in enough time to help you off the baby and recovered fully at the right time to help you out the baby. You're going to work. And then her doctor's going to retire job, and by that time you're going to be ready for a new house, a new place. I'm going to take you out, and I'm going to take you to this new state, cheaper and everything. And that's exactly what happened. Oh, God is so good. He's good. God is good. It's like you can't make this stuff up. It's the same story I gave back in 2014 when I got fired from that job, but I got fired at the right time because my sister was at school. She had no babysitter or nothing. She's like, I got to do internship. What's going to happen? Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I ain't going to be able to go. And God, for some reason, I just lost myself at that job, man. I lost my temper. I can't say what happened, but it was like a shield came off of me, and it allowed me to get the way I was. And then I got fired. And it was at the right time. The exact right time for me to be there for my sister so she could finish schooling. And even though I was struggling and I got denied unemployment the first time, the second time I got that appeal and they were no-shows, the people that were trying to go against me. And, they were crooked anyways. I'm glad they got what they deserve. I ended up getting that unemployment, and it just seemed like no matter what. And it didn't matter. Me and my husband were living on pennies, and we were just making it throughout the year and being there for the kids. And then I finished school at the same time. It was just how God works. And then at the last minute, my electric bill I thought was going to shut off, and they said, you qualify for this program, and I never signed up for it. And it came through the mail, and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, Jesus. I knew it was God. My sister knew it was God definitely when I got fired at the right time for her, okay? It's amazing how God works. It's like he sees ahead of the game, and this is what faith is. Faith is trusting without seeing, hope without evidence. That's what the Bible says. Time is at 7:20. I got to get in there to go get some breakfast. But I want to just state this real quick before I go, that's what the Bible says what hope is. And it's not raining, so it's a good time to go in there now. But I had this weird dream, right? It was so strange. And it was about it was weird. It was like it was a glimpse. It was this morning, and I was sleeping with the baby. I had the baby next to me, and I was sleeping. And I was in like a city. I think it was New York or something, or Philadelphia, one of those states. And in the dream, I walked by. I was like lost, and there was a man, I think. And we were trying to get on a train. I remember. I was like, I got to get on the train. I have to get on this train. And I had to go somewhere, but I just don't know where it was that I had to go. And they said, okay, here's the train station. I go through the train station, and I saw all these people. It looked like a haunted place. It was just horrible, like a drug addict train station. It was the worst train station you could think of. Went down there, and it looked like there was just horrible people falling out, like looked like zombies. It was stinky. It was dirty. And it looked like people were living in there. People were living in there. There was sex trafficking going on, I believe. Like the way it seemed, as I remembered the dream, seems like as if there was like some type of sex trafficking or something going on. Some kind of trafficking, people on drugs. It was dirty, stinked. I said, I want to get out of here, right? I got out of there. I said, I got to get out of here. This is not the right train station. I don't want to be in here. I got out, right? And somewhere in the dream, I remembered something about us driving through a tunnel, right? It was a tunnel. It was a very small tunnel. We go through the tunnels two ways. And I saw that we were coming out, and it showed the state of Indiana. And I'm like, what? I said, oh, no, we're going the wrong way. And I turned around. I swerved into this tunnel, right? And the tunnel had two ways, right? But it had no bridge. You know how there's walls in between tunnels? There was no walls. It was literally like a two-way tunnel where there was like if you were on a regular highway, but there was in a tunnel. And I turned around and they were like, beep, and I'm trying to get out of there. So I ain't trying to go to Indiana. And I drove off and I'm like, what does that mean? Why did I have that dream? And it was so weird. I'm like, I got to get back to the way I got to go. Right. And I forgot what happened after that. I don't remember if I went back near that train station and I saw like the outside of it. I said, I ain't going back in there. It's dirty in there. And I was like, I got to get back out of here. I think we were either Philly or New York. It was one of the cities. And I got on that tunnel, I don't know, and it was small. And it said the state of Indiana, welcome to Indiana. I said, oh, no. I'm like, get out of here. And I drove out of there. And I don't know why I had that dream, but it was so weird. And what was up with the whole dirty, filthy train station? Why it looked so horrible? It was the worst train station you can imagine. It looked so worse than a rat-infested place. I'd rather have rats running around. That's how bad it was. That's the best I can explain it. And nephew got on my... It dried up. It was ice cream. I gotta wash this purse now. But yeah, it was the weirdest dream ever. I'm telling you, it was really weird. Very, very weird. Oh, let me drink this before I go in there, and I'm gonna just jot in while there's no rain. It got me thinking, like, what was that all about, Indiana? I don't know. I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was a fear of mine. I don't know if it meant something. I don't know. What was up with that dream? Me going on the tunnel and saying you're going the wrong way. It says Indiana State. And I'm like, oh no, I'm out of here. And I'm trying to drive around. And then I go back and I'm standing outside of that dirty train station. It was so bad that I'd rather be around rats. That's how dirty and nasty it was. It was the worst ever. It was contaminated with filth and defiled. It was horrible. Yeah. But I'm gonna get off here. I gotta get inside. I'm gonna get some breakfast, read some scriptures real quick on my phone. And then I'm going to get to work because I start work at 8. So now if I have time, I will Bible study later on today. If I have time, I do want to do a Bible study or something I wanted to read. Two studies. I may do a double Bible study. So take care, everybody. Have a good rest of your Monday. Be safe out there. I'm going to wake up, get some coffee because that's what I need right now. Bye-bye.